Welcome to part 2. Part 1, we learned about Maggie, how her mom got mad at her when she was playing too loud. She got scared and play isn't safe, and a protector part was born that says you have to stay quiet, keep mom's love, be invisible. And little Maggie, the little Maggie that was playful and fun, got exiled into a closet, and the protector part took over. Maggie is now an adult. She's a grown-up, and she's 50. I'm just going to use around my age. Something's missing, and she knows something's missing. It's really hard for her to relax. It's hard for her to allow herself to be creative, and she's really struggling in that area. Maggie learns about IFS, starts to uncover some of these protector parts, and she does that by figuring out that she has what's called a self. And inside all of us is this core of us called the self. The self can never be damaged. Maggie's mom, even though she got scared when Maggie's mom yelled at her, the core of Maggie was not damaged. And this self, it's like, I've heard people say, it's like the sunshine, and parts are like the clouds that kind of cover up the sunshine, all right? The self is still under there. It's not changed by the clouds, by these parts. It is still under there, all right? What's great about the self is when we access the self, I do it through meditation, by really getting connected to my body, figuring out where, how I feel apart from all of my parts. That's when I know I'm in self. Self is sometimes really hard to find. If you've had a lot of trauma and a lot of hard things happen to you, self can sometimes be really hard to find. I take a couple deep breaths and I self pull apart from all the parts. There's just like this little space that happens right here when I take a deep breath. I say, okay, I want to start to feel self energy. That you're in self energy when you start to feel one of these 8 C's. Now my handwriting is kind of bad, so we'll go through it. If you feel curious about the parts, if you feel clarity around them, if you feel calm, compassionate, if you feel creative, if you feel courageous, connected, and confident. So these are the ways that you've got this self-energy inside of you. It's pulled away just a little bit from these parts. And what's great about this pulling away, it allows us to find the parts inside of us because they still live inside of us. And the way we do that is the 6 F's. The 6 F's is you find, you focus, you flesh out, you feel towards, you befriend, find out what their fears. So if we're going to see if we can find this part, Maggie's feeling just not creative. She can't let herself relax when she wants to be creative. She wants to do things. She just can't. So Maggie takes a deep breath. Maggie goes inside of herself, arrives back inside of her body, and she finds a part. All right? So Maggie finds a part. This part is be quiet. Don't play a part. Now, she found it. Number 1, find the part. Focus on that part. There may be other parts around this. If you follow my page, you know that I often have lots of parts that are also kind of working in my system at once. It could be the play is fun. It could be get to work part. There's lots of parts inside a system. But we're going to focus on this one. Be quiet, don't play a part. We're going to flesh that part out. Where does this part, where do you feel this part in your body? Where do you feel this part in your body? My throat. I'm going to say, I feel it in my throat. So I'm going to focus on that part. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to see how we feel towards it. Because what can happen in this moment is you're all of a sudden in self here. You find this part, okay? What can happen is when you ask yourself to feel towards it, sometimes other parts hate this part. Sometimes other parts really hate this part. They come in and say, don't talk to this part. So if you are feeling anything except for any of these towards this part, and most of the time I'm curious, like what is this part? Maggie I don't really remember what happened when I was 7. I just know that I have these feelings. I can't relax. I can't have fun. As soon as you know you're feeling curious or one of these 8 C's, you're in self, and you can move forward then into the next number. 5, befriend. I'm feeling curious about this be quiet, don't play part. So I can ask that just inside my head, self, because I'm feeling self. Self can ask that part, what's your name? Some people's parts name themselves. What's your job? How do you feel right now? What else do you want us to know? And we really, really get to know this part. We want to befriend this part. And there may be another part, again, that comes in and says, stop talking to that part. We don't like that part, stinks. And now you're not in self anymore. You're in that part. And taking another deep breath. Getting yourself grounded and saying, this part, can you just give me a second? Can you just give us a second to talk to this part? Can you step back for long enough for us to talk to this part for a minute? What that does is it allows our system, this part says, I've been acknowledged now, but I'll step back. Self then is back in charge. Then we go back. How do we feel towards this part? We feel courageous about this part and our ability to help this part. So we're back in that feel towards, befriend, and fear. So the fear of the F's is really important. This is where we say, what are you afraid is going to happen if you don't do the things that you do? What is your job now? And this part would say, I keep us quiet. Play is not safe, so I keep us quiet. We don't play. If I don't do my job, we get loud and we get crazy and we play. We are going to make people mad. People are going to be mad at us. We're going to lose their love and their attention and their affection. And then we will be alone. Once you figure out what that part is really afraid of, the part is afraid right back to little Maggie. Like what happened with little Maggie? Play is not safe. Play is scary. So we've gone through the 6 F's. All right. Now we're going to do the next step, which is to unburden this part so that it doesn't have to do this job anymore. So that's part 3 coming up.